Yeah, we're live on Facebook Live. Hey, Facebook. This is the show before the show, the Geaux Rouge show. We are live on Facebook. If you're watching, we've got James from Red Stick Reads. We've got Stephen from Nexus, Louisiana. We've got Noah from Venyu, Vishal from Relief Telemed. Guys, if you can modify your name on the Zoom window, that will actually help us when people are watching the video. I'm doing that now. I should have done that before I went live. So anyways, we've got an interesting episode today. You'll notice if you're watching on Facebook Live, we've got Santa Claus. He's come to town. James, I appreciate you being a good sport, wearing the suit, doing the Santa thing. Funny story about my short-lived tenure as Santa Claus. I played Santa Claus, or I tried to play Santa Claus when I was in college, and I weighed significantly more weight than I weigh now. And the suit, it was for a Kiwanis club, and the suit that I put on did not fit. I was too fat to play Santa. How about that? Too fat to play Santa. Still a little butthurt about that, guys. So if you're tuning in, we'll be starting at about 10 o'clock. We've got some great of course, Nexus, Louisiana. Tech Park is in the house, Stephen. Goes without saying, but I'll say it both on air and off air. I appreciate the support of you guys and the support you guys have given the Geaux Rouge show. Was one of my first sponsors. I deeply appreciate it. Can never thank you guys enough for that.
We're
always fun.
We love what you do. We love what you do with the radio show and Geaux Rouge in general. So we're happy to be a part of this.
Thank you, thank you. I got to know Tech Park through some work I did with an event you guys do called Pitch BR. I used to MC those events. I miss those events. I understand why we don't do those events anymore, or at least in the same format. I understand that.
Back. They'll be back. They'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then my only claim to fame as a human being, my only claim, besides being the father of a beautiful 5-year-old, my only claim to fame is I got to be the MC of Brew last year, which I have always wanted to be a part of that. I am a criminal defense attorney for those who are watching, and I also do a little bit of radio. So I have really, this whole idea of being an entrepreneur is something I think about all the time, but generally the rest of the world don't really think of me. They think of me as a professional, not a entrepreneur. So it was fun doing that. So shout out to our friends at ETEL, Natalie Straight. I know you're watching. Natalie was actually the one that suggested that I sit down with Venyu and Relief Telemed. So shout out to them. And she was like, do you know Stephen Loy from Nexus, Louisiana? And I said, yeah, I'm acquainted with Stephen. So we're familiar with each other. We've sniffed each other before. We're two dogs that have sniffed each other. So yeah. So we're going to talk about the tech. We're going to talk about Baton Rouge getting some nice new things, shiny new things in the near future. We're also going to change gears, and actually the first guest is going to be James from Red Stick Reads. We're going to talk about a new bookstore in Mid-City, new hot bookstore in Mid-City. I love Mid-City. I love the fact that Mid-City is getting cool, good things. You just did a Friends and Family soft opening, right?
Yep, yesterday. And it was wonderful. It was a beautiful day. We had a little fire pit outside. We had lots of people. We had some French truck coffee, which is a block away. It's a nice little walk to go get some nice coffee in the morning. And yeah, you know what, we had intended to be just a moment for us to show what we've done and to hang the sign and to get the support of our families and that rallying moment. Everybody bought books, which was totally not what we were planning. And it turned into this shopping fest. And I'm like, wow, this is like doing a market.
So I'm going to give a shout out to you. I did something the other day, James, that I've never done. I speak for a living, right? I can speak for a living. I get paid to, not by the word, but I get paid to stand up and talk. And there is, for those who don't know, I'm a big fan of octopuses. Plural of octopuses is octopuses. Can be octopi as well, for those who are Latin fans. And so somebody cued me in on a octopus Christmas book. And so I was in quarantine, in fact. And I think one of my good friends, shout out to Elizabeth over at Beausoleil and Baru. She makes wonderful pastries. She bought the book, I think, from you guys on a pop-up. And then I got the book, I read the book, and then I was like, Geaux Rouge needs to do a children's reading of this. And so I tried to read this book while filming myself reading the book. It was a terrible idea. I gave myself a solid B-. The author and the illustrator of the book, they're both local. Well, the author's local, the illustrator's from New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken. They saw the reading. They were tender and kind. They said thank you. They were not super critical. And I felt the need, and it's funny, I felt the need to tell them to defend myself, because I'm like, look, I'm really good at I'm really good at standing up and doing oration. I mean, I've done murder trials, and I've done this, that, and the other. I can do better. Like, it was like a really, like, I can do better. Maybe I should do it again. And they're just looking at me like, dude, you're done. Stop. So Brian Haldane, welcome, Brian, from Talk 107.3. Brian Haldane, you can't see him on Facebook Live. He's in the booth. He is the producer of this show. He helps make this magic happen. If you are one of the panelists in this, he will be giving you guys cues in the chat window. So if you see a chat post up, make sure you look at it. We're going to be starting shortly. Brian's a good guy. Brian hosts Mornings with Brian Haldane on Talk 107.3. I do a weekly segment with Brian called Legally Served. It's about law, generally about criminal justice issues. So yeah, we'll be starting soon. Too fat to play Santa. Still butthurt about that.
Well, you're brave enough to admit that to everybody, right? It's got to.
So I will tell you. So I will tell you. You'll discover this shortly, Noah. I'm all about. I read a lot of Brene Brown. I'm all about being vulnerable. So one of the things I self-deprecate myself.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So but yeah, we got a good dude. You guys must be popular. We've got some people watching the episode on Facebook Live.
It's all Steven.
So, yeah,
you realize how popular Santa is.
Yeah, Santa's pretty freaking popular. So look, we're gonna start early if that's okay with everybody. But if you're watching on Facebook Live, please click share. Please share this and tag Geaux Rouge, tag Red Stick Reads, Relief Telemed, Venyu. By the way, great social media presence, guys. I've been looking at all your social media, as well as Nexus, Louisiana. Tag all these guys so they can see just how wonderful it is to be associated with this guy right here and this radio show. This radio show right here. That's right. I wear my swag, like
I love it.
I wear my swag while on the radio. So, anyways, yeah. So Brian, let's go on and cue me up whenever you're ready, and we'll start this thing. So all quiet, and we'll start momentarily. This is the awkward pause moment. All right. So can I go on and start, Brian? Is that what you're saying? All right. This is Franz Borchardt. Welcome to the Geaux Rouge Radio Show, episode 56. We're a week before. We're not even a week before Christmas. We're days before Christmas. When this airs, it'll actually be after Christmas. So if you're listening on Facebook Live, Merry Christmas. And if you're listening on the radio, I hope you've had a Merry Christmas. We've got a fun episode today. We've got Santa Claus in the house. We've got James Hyfield from Red Stick Reads going to talk about his new bookstore, as well as giving us some season's cheer. Then we're going to have Relief Telemed, Venyu, as well as our friends from Nexus, Louisiana. Stephen Loy, one of my good friends, only guy that wears a bow tie better than I do, is in the house. For those who know, Nexus, Louisiana and Louisiana Tech Park have been wonderful and tremendous sponsors of the Geaux Rouge show. I appreciate everything they've done for me over the course of the year and everything they've done to help get this show on the air. Speaking of sponsors, let's go on and thank our sponsors, and we'll get this thing kicked off. The Geaux Rouge show is brought to you by the following sponsors, without whom we would not be able to have a show. NAI, Ladder and Bloom Commercial Realtors. By the way, NAI, Ladder and Bloom also host and sponsor a commercial real estate podcast called The Real Disruptors that I host. You can check them out on YouTube. The Smith Shanklin Sosa Personal Injury Law Firm, your go-to personal injury law firm. Shout out to them. Breck Parks, Sullivan Steakhouse, your neighborhood steak restaurant. Of course, Nexus, Louisiana Tech Park. La Divina Italian Restaurant, serving custom, made from scratch breakfasts. Good coffee too, by the way. Good coffee. I had one of those lattes with some art on it today. It was great. It was like a leaf. It looked like a leaf. Maybe it was a leaf. I don't know. And then last but not least, the finest criminal defense firm in the universe, the Borghardt Law Firm. Hey, for more information on the Geaux Rouge show, go to www.geauxrouge.com. And if you have show topics you'd like us to tackle or invite folks on the air, email us at info@geauxrouge.com. And without further ado, we've got a panel of guests on today. I'm going to introduce everybody, but James, you're going to be up first. We've got Noah Boudreaux from Venyu. We've got Vishal from Relief Telemed. By the way, shout out to your wife, who is the former past president of the Junior League, aka the Illuminati of Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge Illuminati. She has been a very good friend of mine, so I'm glad to have you on here. And then we have James Hyfield from Red Stick Reads. Fellas, welcome to the show. I would be remiss also if I did not thank our friends over at eTel, Natalie Straight, for helping me get some of you guys together. So James,
Yes.
new hot, right off the presses, mid-city bookstore, Red Stick Reads. Tell us about it, man.
Red Stick Reads. Well, we started off as a pop-up bookstore here in town. As you know, there are not many local bookstores left. Right. I think Cottonwood might be the last one in Baton Rouge that is full-time selling books. We felt that this was a great plan for us to get out of the life of restaurants and all that sort of jazz and build a retirement plan for ourselves that would, be a happy moment for both my wife and I every day that we come to work. And we felt that delivering stories and things like that to kids and adults is the best thing that we could do. So we found this little property from doing the Mid-City Makers Market. And the landlord of this property happens to be also in charge of formulating that market. And he came to us. He's like, hey, would you be interested in renting out a little property we have? And you could have your bookstore here in my backyard.
So what I love about James is I actually, before the radio show, before all the massive food events we've done that we don't get to do anymore in COVID-19, before all that, when I was just a lowly little lover of food, which is a nice way of saying fat foodie, I threw a burger event for charity that James actually was a judge for. And the reason James was a judge, and this is one of the reasons I love James, is James is in the culinary world, or was in the culinary world. He was working at Whole Foods. You were a chef. And so I met James that way. And then over the course of time, you let slip that you were thinking about opening this bookstore up. And I got to tell you, the listeners probably don't know this, but I actually, as soon as you thought of the idea, I was like, James, you got to come on the radio show and talk about this. And James slow played me. He was like, oh, it's not ready. I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm not ready to do that. So fast forward, James is doing pop-up bookstore work. He is, in fact, one of the other reasons I love James is if you're watching on Facebook Live, if you're listening, you can't see it. James is in the Santa costume right now. James plays Santa Claus, man. I don't want to. He's one of Santa's
dyed his hair and his beard.
I love it.
White for the season. I spent my first 4 hours in a beautician chair to get in the character.
So I will say this. One of the things I like about Red Stick Reads is you guys are not only just a wonderful mid-city local bookstore, but also you care about the community. And I say that because this weekend, in fact, I was at the Electric Depot. I was taking my son Fisher to go get some hot chocolate. Small world, you and your wife, James, were there doing a pop-up children's reading. And so we sat and listened to you guys read about 5 or 6 Christmas stories. And then on top of that, Red Stick Read starts passing out crafts kits so that we can go home and do crafts together. So I'm definitely a fan. So tell me a little bit more, James, about how this is going to work in terms of this bookstore. Right now, you guys are in the soft opening phase, right?
We are in the COVID phase of our opening, meaning that our store inside is too small for us to socially distance more than like 5 people. To that end, it seemed wise that we wouldn't want to lose people because they might be afraid that if they were in here, they would be in an unsafe environment. So we're doing appointment shopping. So we've set up like right now where you can call us and schedule for a 30-minute appointment to come in and shop our store. And then we take a little downtime, clean the store, sanitize whatever your kids might have played with or whatever, get ready for the next session. And we kind of look at it like that, like a session. Like we're also using our store as our stage to build our next market, because we do intend on still doing the markets, even though we have a physical store now. It's just our presence. We like being out there with people. We certainly focus and specialize in children's books, especially picture books. We believe picture books are great for adults too, because picture books just is a certain kind of book that elicits a very comfortable response in people. And my wife is a teacher, and she has worked at St. Aloysius for what, 12, 15 years, 10 years, a long time. And she teaches pre-K through 2nd grade Spanish. She's a Spanish teacher over there. So she has armies of children that she has helped raise, because the enrichment teachers see every single student. They don't have like waves of just your homeroom or whatever. She has seen every kindergarten, pre-K, et cetera, kid that's come through St. Aloysius for that many years. And so we have this army of kids out there who are just loving Senora Terry, and they want to come and get read to.
So you sneaky devil, you built a brand on the back of your wife, who is a great teacher. So look, a couple things. I'll say this. I can watch Polar Express with my son, and yeah, we get some couch cuddles in, but if I read Polar Express to my son, there's a different level of connection that can't be replicated through watching a YouTube video or movies. I do want to ask you, now look, I will not say that I'm your lawyer by any stretch of the imagination, but you and I have talked about concepts before.
Sure.
One of the things I want to talk to you about is, look, I have to imagine when you said, hey, I'm going to open up a bookstore in an Amazon world, somebody probably said, James, you're crazy. What are you doing, dude? Talk to me a little bit about why your bookstore, Red Stick Reads, for those who, again, Red Stick Reads, it's on social media. Tell me what you were thinking when you opened this up, and tell me what you offer that I cannot get on Amazon.
I mean, to answer the last question first, we talked earlier in the pre-session, but customer service, the ability to actually talk to the person you're getting the book from. And we, at the onset of our design, we were thinking we wanted to be like almost like an apothecary, or someone who is performing a magic ritual behind the scenes to give you this secret ingredient that will make your life better. Because the more we get to know our customers, the more we can tailor what we offer them. We can specifically target this. We think you'd like this book, which is, I think, like most of us from Baton Rouge remember Eliot's, and you would go in there to Eliot's, and Charles Eliot would know what you wanted to read and hand you the book before you would start looking.
Classic example, to interrupt you real fast. James
Sure.
emails me or texts me. He knows I have a thing for octopuses. He knows that my son and I like to read stuff about octopuses. And so whenever he finds a children's book about octopuses, he's like, hey, dude, did you know about this book? And of course, like a good addict, I'm like, octopuses, I need some. Give it to me now. I got to have it. So
and chandeliers and altar pieces.
Yeah. So, and that's, Amazon can queue you up to that kind of stuff, but the personal attention that comes with having a friend or someone that's like part of the family reach out to you and say, hey, I was thinking about you. Did you know about this?
Right.
So again, where's Red Stick Reads located?
We are on the corner of Government and South Eugene. We are right across the street from Ragusa's, right across the street from Baton Rouge High, but behind the Domino's Pizza. There is like a little alleyway servitude that runs between Arlington and us, and that is where the parking lot for French Truck is. And we're in that same little alleyway servitude just a block over.
So I saw the alleyway had some couches and seating area.
That's my breezeway. Yeah, okay. I have like we like I say, we got some really cool outdoor space.
secret garden, but we can call it breezeland if you want to.
Yes, all sorts of fun things we want to do. I mean, we want to have a community garden here for the kids in the garden district to be able to come and plant things with us. And, you know, we want to continue to offer small events, but it's exactly where we wanted to be. We wanted to be in Mid-City, but also to answer the other question, if I had another second, once the virus hit and the pandemic spread across the country and the infrastructure of all these giants like Amazon, et cetera, starts to shut down because it relies on ground level delivery, we caught up. We were able to, in that vacuum, I delivered. I was furloughed. I was like, all right, well, I'll hand deliver in Baton Rouge books. So you get it today. You get it tomorrow. I won't be able to keep that up forever, but we've been able to show people throughout Baton Rouge that, like, hey, these people exist, they care. I give them 3 or 4 days, I can get the same book I get from Amazon, but I'll be able to have that relation with them. So
to quote Ryan Holiday, who was quoting Marcus Aurelius, the obstacle is the way. I like it. So James, real fast before we hand it over to Noah from Venyu, if people want to connect with you at Red Stick Reads, where should they go?
The first place they can go is our website, redstickreads.com. You can email us at redstickreads@gmail.com. You can call us 225-405-7712. We have Facebook, Red Stick Reads. We have Instagram. We're not the hippest on social media, but we're trying.
I'm not hip on social media either, so you're in good company. So James, thank you for coming on. Stick around. We're going to have more with James from Red Stick Reads, but now we're going to transition over to a hot company called Venyu. Shout out to Natalie Straight for telling me I needed to have Noah from Venyu on that. Noah Boudreaux, hey man, what's going on?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me.
For those who've been living under a rock like myself, what is Venyu?
Venyu is a data center consulting and services company. Been around for over 2 decades now. So best kept secret in town, I guess.
So what is that? A data, exactly. What is that?
So we're all about helping companies keep their technology running in the midst of a challenge, whether that be a natural disaster, a fire, a pandemic. Who knows what could happen in 2021? But our motto is make your data invincible. So we help companies figure out how they keep their technology durable and kind of running so that their businesses don't have issues in the face of any challenges that they may encounter. So we service small business all the way up to very large enterprises, and they use us to help host their infrastructure within our data centers. We have 3 of them here in Louisiana, and so they depend on us to keep those systems up and running, regardless of the situation, what's going on, all the external factors. So it really goes a lot to help businesses, get over any challenges that they may have in the midst of keeping technology running.
So you guys have been, shall I say, busy lately. And in fact, you've got some cool stuff on deck. Talk to me a little bit about what's going on with Venyu and why what you guys are doing is going to make Baton Rouge a much cooler place.
We're 2020 has been hard for everyone, but there's always some glimmer of hope. There's always some silver lining, and thank goodness for that. Give us the motivation to kind of keep our community and our businesses strong. We've been able to collaborate with a partner who recently made investments in the facility that we run 2 of our major data centers out of, that we believe is going to give us some traction to start really growing in the space. And I'll tell you why that's important. So data centers, typically, if you look at it from really a big picture, what's going on in Google, these are all the major data centers everybody can kind of relate to: Microsoft, Amazon, AWS. All of these companies host their own host data centers today. So they do it on a massive scale. And what we see happening in the industry is that the onset of what's known as IoT, or the Internet of Things. Everybody has phones, everybody has devices. So everybody's connecting to a large network. And the back of that network all leads to data centers. That's where the data resides. That's what people are really trying to get to. That's where all of the our Facebook and all of the information that we use every day, whether it be a individual or a organization, this data is residing somewhere. And at the end of for all the major companies and for a growing number of small and mid companies, it's landing in a data center. So we see that continuing to expand. And you've seen over the last few years, the data center industry has just grown exponentially. I mean, they're popping up everywhere. And we see our position in Louisiana as quite unique because we really don't have a lot of other organizations with our capabilities here, in terms of the space and opportunity we have to scale and grow in Baton Rouge, the connectivity we have that allows us to really take advantage of some major opportunities from a networking perspective, and all the redundancies that we have here. It's really unique. And so we feel like we are now in a position with the recent acquisition of this property, the Bon Carré, that we can now grow and really help to serve the Southeast Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana area more than we have ever been able to in the past, just because of the scale that we think is coming because of this onset of the Internet of Things.
So let me ask you this. This new endeavor, what is it going to mean for Baton Rouge? For folks like James and I, who are not necessarily in the tech world, what is that going to mean? What is that going to look like? And by the way, what is that going to do to that beautiful facility that you're going to be doing?
That's a great question. And I think Stephen, who's obviously joining us today, will have some feedback on this too. So the vision for the center, the Bon Carré as a whole, which by the way, a decade ago was one of the top technology centers, I think, in the city and the state, right? It was kind of sought after as being the place to go. And we're trying to rekindle that, and with the help of the technology park and these new investors, we think it has the ability to really transform into what it was and beyond that. And so we want to, hopefully it attracts more and more technology companies, brings more and more jobs into this area, makes Louisiana really be seen as that unique place in the South that has the technology advantage, just as capable as some of our larger cities. With that comes jobs. It brings the attention of maybe even bigger companies that want to come here, that have a customer base here, whether that be individuals or businesses that they work with. So they'll want to leverage Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and the Southeast as a place where, is that a good spot for me to land some of the data so that I can actually have an easy path for their customers to get to?
So it's a ripple effect, so to speak, of it'll attract other fish into the water, so to speak.
That's right. We call it gravity. We think it's really going to create this gravity here in Baton Rouge that's going to, it's kind of, almost be like a snowball effect and start to really attract more and more bigger businesses.
So Noah, don't go anywhere, because when we enter into the second segment, we're going to talk more with you and Stephen, and that'll be a good segue into Relief Telemed. But look, if I want to get more information about Venyu and what you guys are doing, where would I go? Definitely
the website, www.venyu.com. We are on Facebook and LinkedIn. I think it has all of our services and capabilities, and then all the contact information you need to get in touch with me or a member of our team. And so, speaking of social media, if you're interested in getting more information about the Geaux Rouge Show, you can go to LinkedIn, the Geaux Rouge Show. You can go to www.geauxrouge.com. We're on Facebook. We have an insane amount of followers and likes on Facebook. No, I don't pay for those likes. I don't pay for those likes or followers, and I certainly don't know 24,000 people. So it's very humbling. No, they're not all bots, James. They're not all bots. Instagram just goes to show you my Instagram and Twitter following is much more humble and smaller in nature. But we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. Again, www.geauxrouge.com. Yeah, they're not. So for those who are watching, James is now calling the bots elves.
Oh goodness! Only because he's wearing a Santa suit. So when we come back,
You asked for this.
Yes, I did, sadly. When we come back, we're going to pick back up with Noah Boudreaux from Venyu. We're going to incorporate in Steven. And then our final guest will be Relief Telemed doing some great stuff. You've been listening to the Geaux Rouge show. Guys, by the way, Noah, we got about a minute left. Noah, I need some Venyu swag. I mean, certain people in this interview are wearing their swag, healthcare related.
Yeah.
I mean, you look like a cool dude. No, I'm just saying. I need a little bit of Venyu swag.
You are absolutely right. I will definitely hook you up.
So for what it's worth, I'm still waiting for some swag from Tech Park from Nexus, Louisiana. I was supposed to get some note cards, but I haven't gotten those yet. It's my fault because I haven't picked them up. So anyways, you're listening to the Geaux Rouge show. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. All right. So we just took a break and we are still on Facebook Live. If you're on Facebook Live, we've got all sorts of goodness going on. I can't believe I'm doing an episode without Jeremy actually being on the episode. That really, it throws me a little bit. I tried to have lunch with Jeremy this week. He's an important dude these days with ETEL. So I'll have to probably settle with having lunch with like Steven. So
Nice.
Which by the way, if you have not gone to Boudreaux yet, that ramen shop in Electric Depot, oh my God, fellas. Oh my God, that's such a good place. So, and while I'm shouting out food, shout out to Beausoleil. Beausoleil's new restaurant concept. Oh,
I've heard great
so
things.
Yeah, I've heard good. I want to go over there.
I went 4 times last week. Don't judge me. So I had the Geaux Rouge Christmas party. The Geaux Rouge Christmas party. I had dinner with my brothers. I had a friend of mine that wanted to have lunch. And then I went a 4th time, and it started getting like, the credit card company was like, we noticed suspicious activity happening at Beausoleil. Is that you? And I'm like, yes, that's me. That's me. So,
My invitation to the
ROI.
Thank goodness for that.
I think the ROI on their marketing is paid off.
yeah, it's good food. So anyways, when Brian tells us we can go back in, we'll do the intro again. And then we're going to kick it off. We're going to have a little bit more time with Noah, but Noah, we're going to segue to Steven, because I want Steven to talk a little bit about what this means for other entrepreneurs. And then that will be a great way of segueing into, speaking of entrepreneurs that are doing awesome things in Baton Rouge, Relief Telemed, man. Relief Telemed had some swabbing in my nose going on recently. It was unpleasant and pleasant at the same time.
Oh,
Okay, there was nothing pleasant about it, but it was good. So. And yes, James, your spot is a perfect venue for a food event, a pop-up food event. And I will be throwing a food event again when I can do so without everybody getting angry at me for being insensitive about COVID and all that.
And you don't want to get quarantined for the 5th time or however long.
It'll be the 3rd time. And I missed Thanksgiving because I was under quarantine. I would like to actually go to my family Christmas this year. Yes, I do not want to be quarantined again. And I don't want to be that rare
that
test
doesn't sound
case.
like fun. No.
No, and I don't want to be the rare test case of the guy that catches it twice. So
Hey, you want to be in the news more, right? You want.
That's right.
There's
no such thing as bad publicity.
Yes, I will disagree respectfully. There is absolutely such a thing as bad publicity, but that's another conversation for when we're not on Facebook Live. All right. So if you're tuning in, dude, we got 16 people watching on Facebook Live, which for your purposes, guys, is amazing. It's sporadic. Sometimes we have more, sometimes we have less. I think it's because of Santa Claus, but dude, what's the Noah, what's the time frame on this transition or this acquisition or whatever we're calling it?
Yeah, well, I mean, immediately. I mean, the acquisition of the building property went through about 3 or 4 weeks ago. You can read about it online in the Advocate, and then so they're starting to make preparations now. We actually are kind of building a little bit of a consortium to be able to work with the new landlords to kind of help them create the vision and implement it.
Awesome. So we're going to start in about 30 seconds. When Brian cues me up, I'll do the intro, guys. And again, you're watching the Geaux Rouge show. If you're watching on Facebook Live, please share this. Share this video. make sure you go and like Venyu and Red Stick Reads. We're gonna tell them to like Relief Telemed and Tech Park as well. Well, Nexus, Louisiana. 10 seconds. All quiet. All right. We're in segment number 2 of the Geaux Rouge radio show. You're listening to your host, Franz Borkart. For those who are listening on the radio, welcome. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. For those watching on Facebook Live, Christmas is only a few days away. We've got Santa Claus. We've got Santa Claus on the show. Thank you, Santa. I appreciate that cueing. If you're tuning in for the second segment, we've got Noah Boudreaux from Venyu, Stephen Loy from Nexus, Louisiana, Tech Park. We've got Relief Telemed on. We've got Red Stick Reads on. Before we jump in back with Noah, let's thank our show sponsors. These are the ladies and gentlemen, the businesses that help make the Geaux Rouge show possible. These are the folks that help me help you. Help me help you. Nexus, Louisiana, Louisiana Tech Park, La Divina Italian Cafe, serving select wines, ice cold beer, and their exclusive sorbet mimosa. Sounds good, tastes good. The Borkart Law Firm, Sullivan Steakhouse, your neighborhood steak restaurant. Breck Parks, the Smith Shakeland Sosa personal injury go-to law firm. If you're injured in an accident or otherwise, you need to call these guys up. They don't stand on trucks. They're not billboard attorneys. They're good people doing good things for their clients. I can say that also because I'm an attorney and I don't have a billboard either. And then last but not least, NAI, Ladder and Bloom, commercial realtors. Check out the NAI, Ladder and Bloom podcast called The Real Disruptors. I host that show. I know very little about commercial real estate, but I get to talk to a whole bunch of people who do, and it's a lot of fun, and we do it with a outsider's perspective. So if you're tuning in, segment 2, we were just chatting with Noah. From Venyu. Noah, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. So look, when we went to the break, we were talking about, or before we went to the break, we were talking about what this looks like for Baton Rouge and for Louisiana to be building what you guys are building. And I'm going to let Stephen Loy from Nexus, Louisiana chime in. All right. So Stephen, the Tech Park, Nexus, Louisiana, is in the business of helping entrepreneurs, right?
Right. Exactly.
So tell me why you're excited about what's happening in Baton Rouge right now.
There are a lot of things to be excited about. First of all, start off with what we were talking about a few moments ago is Bon Carré with the new owners. Bon Carré started off in the 60s. We were Baton Rouge's or Louisiana's first mall. And then as the malls started, we started getting Cortana and then the one across the city, Mall Louisiana. This one's lost favor as a retail establishment. And fast forward to 2000, a group of Baton Rouge investors turned Bon Carré into what it has become, which attracted Venyu, the tech park. It has other IT companies here. And when Tech Park, and especially when Venyu started back in 2000, people are like, you are crazy if you think a data center could be established in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. You're just crazy. Well, fast forward, y'all have 2 data centers now in Baton Rouge, right, Noah?
That's right, 2.
And they just continue to grow up in Shreveport and other places. And because of Venyu, the Tech Park has been able to grow as well. We've been around, we opened our doors in 2001. We'll be celebrating our 20-year anniversary coming up in 2021. Woo!
That's awesome.
But it's amazing. We kind of take, IoT connectivity for granted, but it's establishments like Venyu that make sure that companies like Relief Telemed, like Mastery Prep, like our digital media companies that we have at the Tech Park stay connected. I know when it was about a month or 2 ago, we got a message from Venyu saying that there was some degradation, might be some slight degradation in your connectivity because of an issue. Well, because of 7 different ISPs coming in on 5 different pipes into Venyu, they were able to work the voodoo to whatever they're able to do for us to, it's magic, to stay online. and what happened was, I think they cut a fiber line somewhere in Lake Charles. So it's crazy that you're that far away can actually mess up us being connectivity. So fast forward now with our new owners here in Bon Carré, they want to go back to where we were in 2000, put fresh paint on the building, but also they want to see what can we do next. And if people get off the plane and say, where are the technology community? Where's the technology community here in Baton Rouge? Where do we go? We want them to know that it's here at Bon Carré because Venyu's here, Nexus Louisiana Technology Park is here, and we want you to be here too. And I think that's the important part of this, because it all comes down to jobs. Venyu hires locally, we hire locally, and we grow companies locally. We have over 200 employees with our companies here at the tech park, and I know Venyu has quite a number of those as well. And these are good quality, high-paying tech jobs as well.
So I don't know a lot about tech, but I know what happens when we take an area of Baton Rouge and put good businesses in there and create jobs and opportunities. And what that does to that area of Baton Rouge, and then has the, I'm going to use the word anchoring effect of, well, if we've got these good businesses over here, I feel like I want to have my business over here. And the ripple effect, again, I'm using that term, the ripple effect of that chain of events, nothing but good things. And before we started the episode today, Stephen and Noah, we were talking about that phrase that we all understand of why can't we have good things? This is one of those, to me, this is a catalyst. This is going to be something that people are going to see and say, you know what? And James just messaged me, this is kind of what's happening in Mid-City too. It's good businesses coming in, good people coming in and making it a place where we all want to be and do stuff together. I'm excited about it. And shout out to ETEL. I know that ETEL partners up with you guys. And we've got Jeremy, who's in the not talking, which is Jeremy being quiet is a interesting thing for me. But neither here nor there.
It's a Christmas miracle.
It is a Christmas miracle. But I'll say, look, the entrepreneurs, my experience with Tech Park generally has been through Pitch BR, right? And has been through, I've done some talks at the Tech Park related to law, drones, different legal aspects, helping entrepreneurs. And again, that may be as subtle as I don't understand how things work, but I understand what I feel like when things don't work and what that does to my business when things like connectivity doesn't happen or internet doesn't work or the phones don't work. So just making things run the way they're supposed to, big thing. So talk to me a little bit before we bring in Relief Telemed. Stephen, you guys have a brew event, Baton Rouge Entrepreneur Week coming up. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is actually our 10th anniversary of Brew, and it's Baton Rouge Entrepreneurship Week, and it's happening January 19th through the 21st, and most of it will be virtually online, but we have a great lineup of speakers, and I think we have something for everyone on, not just for especially geared toward entrepreneurs, but everyone on the spectrum who just wants to know what's happening here in Baton Rouge and in the area as it relates to entrepreneurship. We're started off on Tuesday, the 19th, and we'll end it on the 21st at 5:30 for our high stakes pitch competition. And Franz, you'll be our master of ceremony that night, and you always do a fantastic job. And so the winner of this, actually, we call it the winner of this will receive a $50,000 investment in there.
That's big money. That's big money.
And the thing, it's not just cash, it's an actual investment. And so with that comes investors, and with what you want, if you're looking for especially angel or early stage money, is you want these mentors to come along with the money, and that's what this will provide. So it goes without saying that Stephen and Noah, make sure you bring the swag for me to that actual event so I can. I try, you just never come and get it.
I know. So Stephen changed my life. Stephen carries around these note cards in his pocket for Tech Park, and I know this is not exciting, but I love these things so
Great.
much that I used Imprint, my printer, to design Borkart Law Firm ones that I walk around with. And by the way, every lawyer that sees me using these things is like, dude, where'd you get those from? Those are so cool. And I'm like, yeah, I just came up with it by myself. I lie. I came up with this idea by myself. I don't give Stephen any credit. So speaking of giving things credit and pitches, we have Relief Telemed. Vishal, how are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
So I met this brilliant young guy at a Pitch BR event, one of the first ones I emceed. Think of it like Shark Tank, only friendlier, kinder, and gentler. We were at the Keen Miller Law Firm, and you were pitching this idea before you became this big hot thing. Tell us what Relief Telemed is.
Yeah, so we are a multi-channel healthcare provider that connects patients to local healthcare resources. Those are fancy words to say you no longer have to go to the doctor's office. We come to you. And it's all driven through our mobile-based app, and we have a field network of nurses that run around the city that during this time, during COVID-19, we're doing at-home COVID testing, whether it's at work or at your house. So part of it is just making your life easier and more convenient, and in today's world, a lot safer by bringing our product to you.
So you started this idea well before the pandemic, right?
So I have a background. Yeah, I have a background in healthcare, and we just saw the cracks in the foundation of the healthcare industry, whether it was patient experience, the way healthcare gets delivered. Whenever you talk, when anyone ever says, I need to go to the doctor's office, it's not a great experience, right? You just automatically go into this negative space in your brain. And so we set out to change that and put you on the positive side by really, everything we do is on our phone, right? I mean, Uber, Netflix, everything we do is on our mobile base. So why can't healthcare be the same way? And that's what we set out to do, is to create a product or service that makes it really convenient for you to get the healthcare that you need.
So talk to me about what happened when COVID-19 hit and what that did to your business.
Yeah, virtual healthcare, telemedicine, telehealth, a lot of different words for it, has been around for a while, but kind of like what text messaging did in the South during Katrina, where it really forced people, that's the only way you could communicate. That's what COVID-19 did for our industry and our market, and that the only way you could go to a doctor or see your doctor was through a virtual application. And so we went from, I'll be happy to say, we went from $0 in revenue in January to over $1.5 million to $2 million in 2020.
Awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And so it really forced people to adopt our technology and different companies that do what we do. And so it really just, it gave us nitrous oxide, right? And at a time when, we were the right product at the right time in the right place.
Well, congratulations on that. So that leads me to my next question. Talk to me about working with Stephen and the crew over at Tech Park, because you have a relationship with them, correct?
Yes. I mean, we're 5 years in. I had another company before this that didn't go so well and that actually failed. And this was actually a product of that company. So, good things come out of failures. And they've been really patient with us. They really worked with us. And I couldn't say more positive things, and can't recommend the Tech Park any more than I've already have.
Awesome.
I will always praise what they do there and what is available to startup entrepreneurs with nowhere to start. I think that's the first place you go to. So
talk to me about, go ahead, Stephen.
No, I was just going to say, and Vishal is a serial entrepreneur. And the good thing about him is, he swung out his first time, but he came back. And one of the things that we need to do more of is embracing failure, because that's where you learn. And Vishal and his team did that, and they pivoted, and they were able to lean into this pandemic and are hiring and are growing. And so we're happy to do that. But I think that's, if Baton Rouge is going to support its entrepreneurial community more, it needs to help embrace that sometimes you make a mistake. So embrace failure. And then success isn't a straight line. You've got to zig and zag, as Vishal has done tremendously.
So I have, and while I am not in telemedicine, I'm not in the data center business, and I'm certainly not in the business of selling books or being Santa, I will say, as a criminal defense attorney, some of my epic failures in life. And in fact, people don't realize this. This is my second go of having a law practice, a entrepreneur law practice. I started out of law school, didn't know what I was doing, did that for about a year, and it just wasn't generating money. And so I got a day job. I worked for a criminal law judge and fell in love with criminal law. And so fast forward to 12 years later, I have a thriving law practice. But people see that and they don't realize that the foundation of that was failure. It was, I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to do with money. I didn't know what to do. And some of it's learning what to do with success. I mean, learning that success today doesn't necessarily translate to success tomorrow, which leads me into my next question. So now I imagine telemedicine is a thing now, especially with COVID-19. So what are you guys doing to adapt and be disruptive based on this success and basically the fact that people are going to try to replicate what you're doing?
Yeah, look, there's companies out there. We're not some super geniuses that have come up with this idea ourselves, right? We've taken a little bit from different industries and different companies and put it together to make it work for us and what we think is a great offering. You know, our strategy is really what Waiter did, right? So Chris Moe is a part of our company, and what he did was he focused on tier 2 and tier 3 cities, meaning the Baton Rouges, the Lafayettes, the Lake Charles, the Birminghams, the Mobiles of the world, and said, you know what, these companies that are funded by hundreds of millions of dollars on the East Coast and West Coast, they're not going to look at these smaller cities. They're going to move into the big cities first. Well, we can do the same thing they do, except for we can do it for smaller markets. And so our entire strategy is we're going to go after the smaller markets, get that market share. And then, you know, if we get the attention of the big guys, they can come in. If not, we'll just continue on that road. So, you know, that's how you beat the big guys is you find a little crack in their strategy and you go full force through that crack.
So I'm going to turn it back over to Noah on this one. So Noah, talk to me about, you see someone like Relief Telemed, you see what they're doing, what they're doing with the tech park. Talk to me about how you guys can all in this culture, in this climate of what's going on in Baton Rouge, how does this cohesively all start working together? I know that's a tough question. So Noah, you or Stephen can jump in here, but how does this all kind of function together is my question.
Yeah, well, I mean, kind of just to piggyback on what Vishal said, one of the key things I think that of the Venyu strategy is also in that tier 2, tier 3 market, right? We recognize that there are much bigger data center organizations that are capitalizing in the tier 1 markets, Dallas, Atlanta, so forth. So being in a tier 2 like Baton Rouge, looking at our third data center location over up in North Louisiana in Shreveport, and looking at other opportunities in and outside of Louisiana to build upon that to serve companies like Relief Telemed. I mean, they at the end of the day have data that is sitting somewhere, and not to get into where Relief is located, but it's somewhere. So they know that data needs to be available and timely, providing it to either the provider and or the users of their offering. So Venyu plays a part in companies like that to make sure that it's there and it's close to the end user. I think that's the key thing to keep saying, you know, whether you're in a business like Telemed, or if you're doing something completely different in a financial or other type of industry, you have a need to get the data close, because that is going to become more and more of a key thing that companies need to be able to be able to provide that in a timely manner, so that people do not like slow. They do not like latency. We've become so accustomed to everything is fast, immediate, and it becomes something where the data close to the users is critically important.
Franz, I mean, you know this, right? Investors always ask the question, how are you gonna compete against the big boys, right? And
right,
you know, my answer is always, if the big boys were gonna do it, they probably would have done it already, right? Because they have more money than I do, they have more people than I do, but it's just we can move faster than they can, right? And we are the markets that we serve, like Noah said, the markets that we serve, they're not really looking at. And so we all have the same needs as they do in the markets that they serve. So companies like us and Venyu are there to fill those needs.
That's
So
right.
I'm just saying this out loud so that Stephen and you can hear me say this. When you're ready to start Relief Tele-Law, I'm there for you, baby. I'm there. And in fact, I think I even told you when you did your pitch all the way back, Pitch BR, I think I even told you probably don't remember this. I think this model would work for law like it works for medicine, because by the way, nobody ever wants to see me either. Nobody just wakes up and says, hey, I want to go hang out with a criminal defense attorney. It's generally the poop has hit the fan at this point. And so anyways, so look, if people want to get more information about Relief Telemed, where do they go?
Yeah, you can go to our website, relieftelemed.com. We're on all the social media platforms. For me personally, you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and I always throw out our email address is info@relieftelemed.com. That drops directly into my inbox. So if I can't answer your question, somebody on my team will answer your question.
I'm going to thank you on behalf of Guarantee Broadcasting and Talk 107.3. I will tell you that while I am not an employee, I reaped the benefits of your wonderful connection with Talk 107.3 and Guarantee when I had a swab jammed up my nose recently. So I do appreciate what you're doing, and I'm excited. Look, man, the big thing I like is you guys are staying here. It's not just having a successful business. It's the fact that you guys are going to stay here, hopefully, knock on wood, and get other people to come. And Stephen, I have to imagine, we got about a minute left. I have to imagine that's a good thing for you guys as well, trying to get the market here to be something that's bigger, better, and sustainable.
Yeah, we always want to be better. We always want to grow. But, the market right now in Baton Rouge is probably would surprise a lot of people of how many tech companies are here. And companies like Vishal, just you drop a pebble in a pond and it starts rippling out. So Vishal starts hiring people. Those people are able to go to Whole Foods and buy food from Whole Foods, and then they go to James's shop and have and buy books for their kids.
Red Stick Reads.
There you go. And so it's a ripple effect. And then what Venyu is doing as well is the same thing. And so, Baton Rouge has a lot of good things happening here. Sometimes we're our worst enemy, especially when we sit down next to someone on a plane and they say, where are you from? And we start talking about all the negative things. Yeah, every community has some problems, but Baton Rouge's tech scene, I think, is happening a lot more than people think. And so I would challenge people, if they want to learn more, go to celebratebrew.com. We're going to be talking all things entrepreneurship, technology, January 19th through 21st, celebratebrew.com, and then latechpark.com. We'd love to help you grow your technology company.
So that's about it for this episode. Guys, thank you for coming. James, congratulations on the new business. Noah, Vishal, congratulations on the magnificent success you guys have had. For more information about Geaux Rouge, www.geauxrouge.com. And with that being said, guys, have a great day. Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, Franz.
Merry Christmas.
All right, so we're clear. We're still on Facebook Live. I got to tell you guys, good episode. And I'm not saying this because I'm the host of the show. Good episode. Guys, I really am excited about what all of you guys are doing, including Stephen. I'm excited about you too, Stephen. What Venyu is going to be doing and what that is going to do for the city makes me feel warm and fuzzy in the same way that you opening up a bookstore in the old market makes me feel warm and fuzzy. And dude, I am so excited for Relief Telemed, being at the right place at the right time, man. That's awesome. That you couldn't have forecasted that, and maybe you could have forecasted it, which is why you're the one sitting on top of the heap of money right now. But
we're looking for money.
So for me, guys, I'm very excited for all of you guys. And dude, how lucky is it that the past president of Junior League Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge Illuminati, is married to you? How lucky is she, man?
I would say the other way around, man.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just giving her. Yeah.
I mean, my wife is married to Santa Claus.
So guys, before we call this this wonderful episode to a close, anything else you guys want to chime in about?
Hey, look, we have one of our companies that's looking for a marketing director. If anyone out there need a marketing job, please let us know.
Oh, awesome.
Awesome. Thank you. How about you, Noah? Anything?
It has been a pleasure. Thank you, Franz and Vishal, Stephen, obviously, James. Good to meet you. It's really been a cool experience. Thanks for having me.
So I'm just going to throw out there once more, and I'm half joking, half very serious. I love swag. Just throwing that out there.
He's not joking at all. He's not
Natalie,
joking at all.
Natalie and Jeremy will.
As soon as I get something made, Franz, we'll get you some.
So the funny thing is, really, if you go to my office, and you guys are all welcome to hang out there sometime. If you go to my office, I actually utilize the swag that people give me. I have pins from all different types of companies. Umami is the pin of choice I use at my office right now. And so, long story made short, guys. Anything from Relief or anything from you, James? We're all good?
Yeah, man. I was actually just typing while you're talking. Yeah, I'm about to have my first appointment shop ever in like 10 minutes. So.
All right, man. Well, go make some scratch. Go make some scratch.
Yeah,
Tell your wife
fun.
I said hello. And guys,
Absolutely. She's right there.
I'm gonna shut off Facebook Live. Everybody have a great